your tax dollars. But here's why I'm scared. When the government starts paying your tax, when the government starts paying your salary, you do what the government tells you to do. Now, if you want to live like that, I suggest you catch a plane, fly about 11 hours from here. You can live in East Germany. Or any other communist country, or any other socialist country. And I lived over there for 3 years of my life, and I'm in a position to talk to you about it, and I'm telling you I don't want nothing to do with it. But we're rapidly beginning to approach a socialistic society. Why? Because the government says you're so stupid you can't take care of yourself, so let us do it for you. Isn't it amazing how we got along without them for so many years? Now, I'm not putting you down if you're in the government. And there's nothing wrong with a good, strong government. We need it, particularly the military side of things. Because the only way you'll ever deal out of a position of strength is by being strong. But there's a whole lot of things that we don't need. The taxpayers continue to fight. Now watch this. The only way you'll ever overcome income taxes is through the law. The only way you'll ever overcome the income tax law is to work with it instead of against it. And the only way to work with it is to understand the benefits of this system and understand that there are tax benefits and incentives written into the law that if you're in business for yourself because you're building free enterprise, you have access to those benefits and you'll make money and keep it. Now broke people call them loopholes because they don't have any. There's no such thing as a tax loophole. Is a legal incentive written into our law that says reward people who are in business for themselves. Give them a benefit to make money and keep it. The business that we're involved in here has more benefits than you can find anywhere else. We've got every benefit everybody in regular business has, plus we've got more. Now watch. For those that are married, your wife can become your full business partner. She too then has all the same tax benefits you've got. Therefore, you can go where you want to go and do what you want to do. How many would rather go on the Love Boat than pay tax? You see the miseries you got to do in this business? You're suffering a lot. How many would rather go skiing than pay tax? How many would rather fly around first class than pay tax? Now listen, I know I'm a foreigner, but listen. There's somebody that's broke in this audience, and they're going to say, "You can't do that." Yes, you can, but you got to know what you're doing, and you got to learn to work with the law. We know what we're doing. How would you like to take 42% of your income and put it back into your lifestyle? You see, don't get into the business I'm talking about here tonight unless you want to make money and have some fun and spend it on you. Now, if you don't spend it, you're going to have to pay tax on it. Will that bother you? That's why we just got back from Disneyland. That's why we stayed in the fanciest, nicest place, the brand new Marriott Hotel. Rooms you can't believe. Now, here's a message. Who does all the work in the Marriott Hotel chain? The employees. Those maids were working themselves to death. Who makes all the money in the Marriott chain? The owner. Isn't it amazing? Now, if you're in regular business out here tonight and you say, "Well, I've already got tax benefits. I haven't got any tax problems," great. But you can't cover the other base. Now listen. Right now there's a rascal called a rate of inflation killing people in this country. And all inflation is when the government spends money it doesn't have. And if you and I did what the government did, we'd be in jail. How long can you continue to spend money you don't have in Dallas? Take a sheriff about 90 days to find you, wouldn't it? But all the government does is pass a thing called an appropriation and prints phony money. And that devalues your spending power. Now watch, at the rate of 18 cents on the dollar today. Now I know it's not 18% if you watch TV. But they don't show you on TV what you need to see. You get shown on TV what they want you to see in this country today. And I know that's a hard thing for you to understand, but it's true. And my message here is simply this. 98% of American people in this country today cannot overcome taxes or inflation, and as a result they lose 60% of their income before they ever get it home. You'll hear them on every corner saying, "My God, we worked harder in 1981 than we've ever worked. We made more money than we've ever made. What happened to it? Where is it?" If you lose 60% of your income, friends, that means, and you don't even have to be a math major to work this one out, that means that you got 40% of your income that you make today, that you can pay off all your bills, you can own all your automobiles, you can have everything you want to eat, and then you can go out and finish all your dreams. Travel around the world. Can you live the way you want to live on 40% of what you make? Well, in the business I'm going to show you or talk about tonight, and I've already been talking about it, we overcome the income tax law legally. We work with the law instead of against it. We'll show you how to put that money back into lifestyle. And we got one more benefit you won't find anywhere else in America. We overcome the rate of inflation in this business. They tell me there's a recession going on in America today. I refuse to participate. I'm telling you, we have got a business vehicle that can't be found anywhere else. But you see, it's kind of like the door. It's too good to be true. Oh, nothing could be that good. Yes, it is. But you see, when you get kicked in the face, you got to listen. What would be different in your home if you could put 60% of your earnings back into lifestyle and write it off? I was looking for those kinds of benefits, but it won't happen these two ways. The only way that you can overcome the system, and the only way you'll ever succeed, is getting involved in a business the way every successful business in the history of America has overcome the situation. It's been around since people have been around, but it's not taught in any school system, and therefore people don't know about it. It's a very simple process called duplication. Totally, completely, and excited about it. As a matter of fact, if your parents hadn't practiced that principle, you wouldn't be here tonight. So it's nothing new. The only way you need to get involved in it is through a business vehicle. Now, the business vehicle that was shown me 5 years ago, for those that are prepared now, and I think I'm about ready to really get into the meat now, is a business vehicle. It's called whatever your name is. I was shown how to go into my own business and call it anything I wanted to call it. And I happen to call my business Severn Enterprises. I'm the chairman and president of the board. The chairman of the board appoints the president every year in my business, and he does an excellent job. The chairman of the board, with a conference with the president, also sets salary levels, and he does an excellent job. If I want a raise, I go to the mirror and ask, and you'd be surprised at the results you get from asking a mirror. But behind that was a business vehicle. A vehicle that would allow me to get involved in duplication, that would allow me to duplicate the things in life that didn't cost me any money, and that's why the business didn't cost me any money. And there's only two things I know that you can duplicate that involved in your life that didn't cost any money, and that's your own personal time and your own effort. And the only way that can be done is through another human being. Now, the exciting thing is you can get involved in duplication and duplicate yourself as many times as you want, and as a result, you're unlimited in the amount of income you can make. Because it's a business that says help somebody else succeed, and then you benefit. It's a people helping people business. The more people you help succeed, the greater your reward will be. That's a third principle of success. It's called the law of compensation. It says you gotta give in order to get. Now watch. You're not gonna get aggravated. I'm not picking on you, right? If you plant corn, what do you get back? Corn, the very same blasted thing you put in the ground. You get the same amount you put in the ground back, or you get more or less? You get more, 10,000 times more than what went in the ground. Now hear me. You get it back 3 days after you put it in the ground? A whole growing season. What's the average length of corn to grow in West Texas, Central Texas? No. Somebody, I don't know. What is it? Any farmers in here? Anybody knows anything about what? 100 days? Yeah, about 100. Depends on the type, I'm told. On a growing season, there's three very vital, important principles that I just explained to you. Number one, you get back in life what you give out. You give out junk, you'll get junk back. You give out good, you'll get good back. It's called the law of compensation. Number two, you'll get more back than what you give out. It's called the law of increasing returns. Number three, you get back what you give out after you give it out. It's called the law of delayed gratification. Three very vital and important principles of success. But what are you taught? Go down and get a good job, work 10 hours a day, work every 2 weeks, and demand a paycheck. How long would you keep going to work tomorrow if they quit paying you? Said, we'll make it up when we get ready. How many months could you operate with no income? What would you rather have? Be honest with me. Who's pretty new here? That's involved in the business. Okay, ma'am. What's your name, please? Pardon me? Okay, Judy, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. Just want to make a point here. What would you rather have? $500,000 cash or a penny a day double for 30 days? What would you rather have? I just settle up with you right here tonight. $500,000 in cash or a penny a day double for 30 days? Go ahead, Judy. I'm not trying to hold you. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. Penny a day? Now, did you really want to say that? How many people here would rather have $500,000 cash right now? Don't be afraid to raise your hand. That's what I said. Man, I want the money! See, that's the trouble when you talk to people who are involved in the business, because you brought the principle of delayed gratification. Penny day double for 30 days works out to be over $14 million in cash. But after 7 days, it's 64 cents. Isn't that wonderful? The law of increasing returns, the law of delayed gratification. You see, if you want to succeed, put the principles of success to work through you, then you just need a business vehicle, and that's what the business is all about. You duplicate yourself through other people, you help other people succeed. When you benefit, you make it. J. Paul Getty did the same thing in the oil business right here in the great state of Texas. That's where he got his start, here in Oklahoma, and then went into Southern California. He had a very simple philosophy that helped him become one of the wealthiest men the world has ever known. He said, surround yourself with ambitious people, cause them to make a great deal of money first, and don't worry about your reward. Why? Because he understood the law of compensation. Well, we do the same thing through a business vehicle. You duplicate yourself as many times as you so desire. Therefore, as you help other people benefit, you reward. You got a business that works with anybody, anywhere, through friends, neighbors, relatives, casual acquaintances, or strangers. We know that in a 5-year period on Working Smart, you can increase your annual income not a penny less than $50,000 a year, minimum. It's proven. We've been around for 22 and a half years. It is the fastest growing business in operation today in the American states and in the free world. It has generated and caused more people to become millionaires than any other business in the history of America. We've grown every year for the last 22. We've never had a dip in sales. We've never had a bad year. And it's good, and it works. It's the doorway to your future, to your dreams, your goals, your desires. The question is, do you want to go through the door? What's it called? Severn Enterprises, because it's my business. Because it's my name. Now, if you get excited about what we're talking about here tonight and want to begin a business, you can call it Severn Enterprises. If that turns you on, it won't hurt my feelings. I don't care. Or you can call it anything else you want to call it. But I want you to understand one thing. You are in business for you and nobody else. Now you got something to work with in the American capitalistic free enterprise system. And that's why successful people work for themselves. They don't let somebody else control them. Now watch. There's a servicing corporation that makes all this possible. Puts the whole thing together in a great big package for the brand new ones here that really still don't know why you're here. That corporation is the only one of its kind in the history of the world. It's the only corporation its size and kind that's on a cash basis. Doesn't have any stockholders except the two co-founders. Two very young, some of the most highly respectable men in America. Two of the greatest business leaders ever in the history of America. They own all the stock. You know, they're doing pretty good, so there's not a whole lot of cash dividends to get declared out of profit. The largest manufacturing facility created in the U.S. continent. The entire operation covers over 700 acres of property. The entire operation cost over $800 million to build, and there's not one penny of debt owed against it. Because we have no stockholders and owe no debt, 65% of sales get paid back to the people in this business through 9 separate and distinct profits that we offer. You get paid each one of those profits based on the same effort. It's called working smart. Could you handle 9 paychecks where you're working every month, each one's bigger than the last? But you see, it's camouflaged. The whole area is camouflaged, so when people look at it, they can't believe it's true. Last year, sales were $1.4 billion. What's 65% of $1.4 billion? It's a gob. It's a bunch. Over $800 million got paid back to the people smart enough to be involved in the business vehicle. This year, we'll probably pay back more in profit than last year's sales were. No other company in America could continue with that kind of an exciting growth story. You know why? Because every other company's got a terrible debt structure. And instead of taking all that profit and paying it back to the people making the business work, they get to put it back into debt service. Well, Amway pays no debt. Did you hear that? Amway pays no debt. The servicing corporation is known as Amway Corporation. The most exciting going someplace country in business anywhere in the world. I'm proud of it because I'm proud to be in a business that builds the American system up rather than trying to tear it down. And the camouflage is a box of soap. And I think it's totally humorous. I laugh every time because 5 years ago, when I heard the word Amway, after a guy had explained it, and there's a whole plan here that for the new people I haven't gotten into tonight, you need to sit down with who invited you here and explain it so they can understand it. But there's a whole system that's so simple it'll blow your socks off. All you got to do is put a little pressure on it and walk on through. And be willing to consistently and persistently put forth 8 to 10 hours a week of effort. And you're going to become very wealthy. 3 promises we make people if you listen to us. Number 1, you live longer. Number 2, you be happier. Number 3, you be wealthy. When I heard Amway, I sat with a 3-piece suit in a rubber tree plant on the 9th floor of one Capitol Center in Boise. I had the second fanciest office in Boise. Who had the fanciest? My boss! You ever noticed how that works? Amway? Never heard of it. Here I was, a big shot, flew all over this country, worked on some of the biggest audits in the entire United States of America, and I hadn't even heard Paul Harvey talk about it on the weekend news. I just looked at the guy and I said, is this thing for real? And he said, yeah. I said, is it honest? He said, yeah. I said, is it legal? He said, yeah. I said, you and me are going to be wealthy. I couldn't imagine anybody in their right mind that would turn down an opportunity to increase their income an extra $50,000 a year. On honest and legal, couple of nights a week of effort without giving up the security of what they now have. I couldn't imagine anybody that ignorant. I know it's tough, but I'm telling you the truth. And every time I show somebody this idea and show them how to get involved in business for themselves and offer my time, my effort, and my knowledge, which I'm willing to do at no charge, now watch, and they say, well, we wouldn't be interested, I get excited. The reason I get excited is because I just made $50, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. It's just the same as if they'd taken a $50 bill out of the pocket and given it to me every time somebody says no. So I thank them. I say, I appreciate it. Thanks for the 50. Then I look them dead in the eye and I say, now I'm going to tell you something, friend, just because I care about you, whether you want to buy it or not, let me say what the truth is. The truth is this: you haven't said no to me. You've said no to you. The first thing you've said is, no, I don't want any money. Oh, I like being broke. No, I don't want to buy anything in wholesale. I'd rather pay retail for everything. That way down at the store I can give all my money away at once. No, I don't want any tax benefits. None whatsoever. I enjoy giving all my money to the IRS. No, I don't want any permanent income in my life. I want to die broke with total insecurity so that when I'm gone, my wife and family get nothing. That's what you said no to. So have a good life. And welcome to the 98% Club. Because America needs broke people, and you're going to make a good one. Now somebody said, you really say that? The answer is yes. Because I'm going to tell you something about me. I am not going to stand there and let somebody fail and be with them. I'm not going to help somebody go down the tubes in this country. I'm going to take my time, knowledge, and effort and give it away, and that's just what your leadership is doing here. The people that have started this business in this area and are building it are among the finest in the whole world of Amway, and we're proud of that. I want you to know that. You're not messing around here with a song and dance operation. We know what we're doing. We know how to run this business as a very strong, profitable, and professional organization. But here's what I like about it. Ain't no big shots. We don't care who you are or where you're from. We don't care about your background. If you've got 15 degrees, you're the same as a guy that's never been to school. And if you're shown this business by somebody that's been in it longer than you, you ought to have enough sense to realize that and understand that you can't create something greater than what you are, and you can't use the principles of failure to succeed with, so you ought to have enough sense to listen to them. Because you see, in this business, by virtue of the way it works, your upline, those are the people that brought you into the business, want nothing more to see you succeed. That's what they want. When you make it, everybody else makes it. It's called mutually beneficial. That's why we'll work as hard for you as you'll work for yourself without any charge. There's only been one man in my life offer to work as hard for me as I'd work for me and not charge me. His name's Steve Kirkham. I love him. He's my sponsor. He drove 3 hours through a snowstorm to show me this business, and I about blew him out. But you see, I was prepared the night I saw this business, and I'm going to tell you something. We have found out over the time we've been involved in this business that dreamers get in and non-dreamers don't want nothing to do with it. Isn't that exciting? I get excited because, you see, a non-dreamer ain't going to succeed anyway, because what's success? The progressive realization of a dream. And without a dream, there's no success and can never be. What's the progressive realization of nothing? You understand what I'm trying to get to. We also know that you can't keep a dreamer out of this business, because we'll guarantee it'll allow you to have everything in life you ever wanted, because it will generate an unlimited source of income if you'll work the plan. If you're in this business and you ain't making any money from it, it's because you ain't duplicating work habits. Amway works if you work Amway. But just like the Gore, somebody say, "Oh man, don't do that deal, man. I've seen one of them doors before. I tried to go through one of them doors before. Somebody locked it on me, man. I lost an eyebrow." Well, earlier I told you that Walt went through the door, stood out there and said, "Come on in." Lynn was out there with him. "Come on in." We've gone through it. We'll unlock them for you. We'll open doors for you that'll take you where in life it is you want to go if you listen to the successful people in this organization that know how it works. Because, you see, I don't want anybody in here not to make it. I would have liked to have you all with us over in Anaheim. Have you ever come splashing down through the Matterhorn on that ride, twisting and circling, and had your whole family with you? Had all your kids behind you, just hooting and scooting and hollering. When you hit the bottom of that, whammo through the water, and it's dynamite, and you get off and laugh and giggle? Because you bought your kids all day passes, and they can ride anything they want as many times as they want. When I was broke, we went to the fair. I gave them 15 cents. Said, "Have a ball." Can you imagine being able to walk out through a moonlit area and beautiful area of Southern California with your wife hand in hand, talking about your future, the dreams and goals and desires that you want, squeezing her and knowing that it's tax season and you ain't in the office, saying, "Honey, I'm glad you're with me. Isn't it a great room we got? Isn't it wonderful that we're now free and have been? Isn't it wonderful that we can have our family down here and afford to take them with us? Isn't it great to know that we're in the American system rather than being the losing part of it? Isn't it wonderful to know that we're on the road to somewhere rather than being on the road to nowhere?" I shudder every time I think that I almost turned this business down. I'm going to tell you why I almost turned it down. Because I got started in it and I found out two things real quick. Number one, I was the most ambitious person I knew. And number two, I didn't have any friends. I'll tell you that when the first 6 months I was in this business, I thought I was trying to give a disease away. But I want you to know something. The difference between successes and failures is that successful people are consistent and persistent. When you have a dream and you've got a way to make your dreams come true, baby cakes, I'm telling you, the only thing that'll stop you is you. And we even overcome that one if you're smart enough in this business. It's called an upline that are willing to help and give and share and be part of you. That'll laugh with you, cry with you, and want to be your friend. But you got to understand that, and that's why you need to get plugged in. Now, hear this. 4 things that got to be if you're ever going to succeed. Now, they just got to be. Number 1, you got to know what you want and why you want it. Number 2, you got to know what you'll give up in order to get what you want and when you expect to have it. In other words, you've got to set a date on it. The 3rd thing you've got to do is you've got to begin to associate and be around successful, positive, goal-oriented people that are willing to help you get what it is you're after. And the 4th thing you must do is that you must have a plan of how you're going to get it, and then be smart enough to consistently and persistently work the plan, and you will have it. You cannot stop somebody that won't be stopped, that has those 4 things working for them. What do you want and why do you want it? What you'll give up and when do you expect to have it? You got to associate with successful people, gain their knowledge and wisdom. And then you got to plan your work and work your plan. That's what Amway is, friends. It's a plan to help you get in life what it is you're after. And you can have anything you want. We have a little saying in this business, two of them I'll repeat. Number one, if you can dream it, you can have it. We know that God created the principles of success, and I don't care where you are in life, that is a true statement. He's for you, not against you. And I'm telling you, if it's a positive thought, it's from your Creator, and if it's a negative thought, it's from His adversary. And that's just the way that it is. I'll tell you something else. Your upline's for you. And if you do what we teach, there's no way to keep from having it. Because I'm telling you, God won't give you a dream unless He gives you the means in order to make that dream come true. And it doesn't make any difference what your dream is. Then we have another little saying that first time I was heard, I was sitting in a hot tub with a multimillionaire. He looked me dead in the eye, and I heard it for the second time in the hot tub. He said it to me 2 years before, but he didn't explain it the way he did the second time. So let me tell you, first time first and the second time second. After my second meeting in my home, a millionaire had driven 5.5 hours one way to share this idea in my home. I couldn't believe it. After it was all over, that person's name is Ron Pereira. In my opinion, he's the finest man I've ever had a chance to get to know and have the pleasure to associate with. What a leader. A brand new qualified double diamond, by the way, he and Georgia Lee. Okay? And he put up a big old blackboard, and at that time it was one of those great big ones, took 2 dogs and a boy to carry, and had the refund schedule written, and you used chalk, and you coughed a lot and spit a lot and got it all over your dark clothes. And after it was all over, Ron took me aside, and the 2 no-shows and the 1 single that finally made it left the house. And I was sitting there having a pity party, feeling how sorry it was for me. And Ron pulled out a check, his recent performance bonus. He was a brand new Pearl direct distributor, brand new. And he said, Dave, if you just listen and learn, we can show you what you can have. He pulled out a check, and that check, 1 check. There's 9 profits. You get this 1 check, 1 month, part-time, $7,200. He started to walk out that door, and I reached over and grabbed his hand, and I pulled him right back, and he's a great big bugger, and I'm not too big. I looked up into his eyes, and I said, Ron, now you tell me the truth, and I'm telling you, don't you dare lie to me. I said, is there any way possible that I might just someday, somehow, some way learn enough about this business that I could just make half that 1 month? He just stuck his arm around me and pulled me in and gave me a big hug, and he said, Dave, I'm going to tell you something. I see great things in you. I see abilities and talents in you that you don't know you have, and I'll make you one guarantee. If you'll do what I teach you and you'll follow my guidance, I'll never hurt you. I'll never offer to do anything against you. I'll never ask you to violate your personal beliefs or your moral principles. And if you'll listen to me, I'll guarantee you, you'll make twice as much in this business as I make when you get to the level I'm at. I just about passed out. Now, I was a big shot accountant, making about $20,000 a year gross, and that's as gross as you can get 5 years ago. You see where the comparison is, the standard of comparison? All of a sudden, somebody succeeding began to raise my standard. Well, I listened to him. That was the day I did the one thing that has to be if you're ever going to succeed. That's when I submitted my male ego, the one thing that'll wipe you out. I submitted that to somebody that was where I wanted to be. In other words, up until that point, ain't nobody knew more than me, and all you had to do was ask me and I'd tell you. I was a hero, big shots. Well, I was a big deal. That was the day I said, brother, you call, we haul. You tell me it's done. I don't care who you are, what you are. You are in life where I want to be, and I finally learned the principle about you can't create something greater than what you are, so you better be listening to somebody that is where you want to be. And I got plugged into a guy that's led me into a millionaire position. The night I saw this plan, I got excited. I didn't understand it, but I got excited. The very first tape I ever listened to was How to Get Started by a guy by the name of Bill Britt. I liked what he had to say. My wife didn't want nothing to do with it. She was a member of every social group in town. She was in the ladies' aid and every other kind of aid you could get involved in, and she was worried about what the neighbors would think. I remember I reached over and turned that red tape player on, and Bill Britt started talking about how to begin a business. And Jan got up and ran upstairs, and I heard the door slam up there. I reached over and turned the volume up just as high as I could get it. Wow! You could hear us 5 blocks away, that tape blaring away. Because I told my wife I was going to succeed whether she wanted to or not. I didn't ask my wife permission to become a CPA, and I didn't feel there was any need to ask her to become successful. I did make her one promise, however, when we began our business. I said, honey, if you don't help me, you don't get a dime when the money starts rolling in. Changed her attitude some. I remember I said, someday, somehow, some way, Bill Britt. I didn't even know who he was. First tape I ever listened. I slammed the tape recorder off about halfway through it, and I said, someday, somehow, some way, Bill Britt, I'll get to know you personally, I'll earn the right to associate with you, and I'll have you in Boise, Idaho talking to my group when it gets built. Ain't it great we're building an army across this country? Ain't it great we're building a business that people understand about, and they'll never know who we are unless they catch us all in the same room at the same time. And that'll never happen. You three fellas, stand up right now and turn around and face the crowd a minute, please. Yeah. Turn around and look at them. Which one's an Amway? Thank you. Go ahead and sit down. You don't know who we are. We're disguised just like the Amway vehicle's disguised. We're Americans that know who we are, where we're going, how we're going to get there, and we're working our plan. Amazing, isn't it? Now, I want everyone in this room, when you're through here tonight, I want you to go home and I want you to order the book, Magic of Believing. If you haven't got it, and if you've got it, find it and reread page 96, 97, 98. And the last paragraph in the chapter, the mirror technique. And what I've just told you will make a lot more sense. When you know who you are and where you're going, the facts simply don't count. That was 1 year ago last October, and Dave and Jan Severn had been in the business for 3 years, just a little less than 3 years. We were Ruby Direct distributors, and we had one Gold Direct leg. We went Pearl the day, that same month that Bill came out with Dex. They pulled all of our group together, and lo and behold, 3 years later, someday, somehow, some way, Bill Brett was in my living room. Well, we went and rented a suite. And we pulled our group together, and we were Gold Ruby Directs with one gold leg. We all got in our motorhomes and coaches, because I'd been full-time in the business for 3.5 years. We went full-time at the gold level, because we were making more than 4 times in Amway what I was making as a full-time CPA after 17 months. Now, I'm not telling you to do that, because everybody's situation is different, but we've made a lot of money in this business. Always have been very profitable. Do you know why? Proper width. So we got everybody together, and that same month that we went over to the Oregon coast, because when you hit certain levels in Amway, they send you away for a week on them. We just all got in the coaches, brought 13 motorhomes into a place called the Sun River, Oregon. Had a tendency to blow their mind. Everybody came rolling in there, all free, all young, and all wealthy. The combination people have been looking for all their life. We all had our kids there, because as long as it was being paid for, we might as well enjoy it, right? Well, that month we broke 3 directs as a result of Bill coming out. That means we went Pearl. Our performance bonus check for the first month that we went Pearl came to the door, and I had a flashback. I wonder. He said that if I'd listened to what he said, I'd make twice what he was making when I got to where he's at. Did he tell me a lie, or did he tell me the truth? Up until that point, Ron Pereira had never told me anything but the exact truth. Here was the test. I took that envelope and I slid it open very carefully with one of my old, when I was jailed up down at the job, I had one of them fancy letter openers, and I slipped off the top, and I lifted that check out, and I did it just the corner that doesn't have the money in, the left corner first, because I wanted to save it and savor it. And when I popped up the right corner, what do you suppose the amount was? Twice times $7,200. Everything Ron Pereira has taught me and told me and shown me and told me would happen has happened in this business. Because I listened. And I duplicated work habits. You want to succeed? Find out what successful people do and duplicate the work habits. That means you get the right width in the business, and you counsel and guide and submit your ego to somebody that's where you want to be, and listen to them. And if your sponsor has more volume and a bigger pen and is going on in this business, if you're smart, you'll listen and take that knowledge and put it to work. Ron Prayer's told me one lie since I've been in this business. We have somebody sitting in the back that'll support this next statement, I'll promise you. Ron Prayer told me that you'd make $100,000 at the diamond level. Bull. I'll promise everyone in here that's got enough guts to become a Diamond Direct distributor that you'll make at least $100,000. And anything less than $100,000 you make, I'll make up for it. You just have to guarantee me that you'll give me everything over $100,000. That is the biggest lie I've ever seen right there, the 2 to 5 year plan. You're shown how to help 6 people become directs and make $50,000 a year. That's diamond, in case you haven't realized it. I'll promise you Walt and Jay Newman are making over $50,000 a year in Amway. Now, I'm just a first-year diamond. We just went diamond last August. But since that time, we've been halfway around the world, and we've been there together, and most of the time we've taken our family. We've made money the whole time we just got off the yacht floating around the Caribbean. We made money the whole time we were down there getting a suntan. And for everything that we did that the company didn't pick up, we deducted. 5 years ago, I was broke. Had a rubber tree plant, had my wife working, drove a used Toyota, and that was it. My wife now drives a Porsche. I drive an Eldorado. We have a 30-foot motorhome, and if we had more place to park, we'd have more cars. So we're moving. Ain't it something? Amway, oh God! What do people think? Who cares? I'm telling you, Americans are pulling their head out of the sand about this Amway deal because it works. I don't sell soap because there's glamour in it. God, I can sell diamonds, man. There's a lot of glamour in diamonds, right? How many people in the room bought a 6-carat diamond this month? Or bigger? That's one of the reasons we don't sell diamonds. There doesn't seem to be a lot of need for them. We can sell real estate. All kinds of glamour. How many people bought a house that cost over $500,000 this month? It's one of the reasons why we don't sell those big ticket items. Luxury automobiles. Golly, we could be in fancy big cars. How many people paid more than $50,000 for a car this month? Let me tell you why we sell soap. How many people in this room use soap this week? Pretty stupid statement, isn't it? If you want to succeed, understand you got to have 4 things. You got to have a product that everybody needs every day. Number 2, you got to have a product that when it's used up, it's replaced. Number 3, you got to have the best quality. Number 4, you got to have the best price. We got them all. Now, there are only 3 products that qualified and met those requirements. The first, toilet paper. Got a lot of problems in the paper industry today. Got an awful lot of problems in the paper industry. Astronomical processing costs. Unbelievable investment in plant, property, and equipment. All subject to the economy. The second qualifying product, bread. It's perishable. It spoils. And there's only a 1% profit margin. The third, soap. Everybody needs soap. I don't care how high the interest rate gets, you're going to brush your teeth tomorrow morning. I don't care what happens to the inflation rate in this whole blasted country. Women will shampoo their hair tomorrow. So we sell toothpaste and shampoo. I don't care how bad you don't want to. When your baby diapers get dirty, you'll wash them. So we sell detergent. No glamour in it, but Lord, there's a lot of profit in it. I didn't get into Amway for glamour. But now here's a very big important message. I never did get into Amway. I got into Severn Enterprises. Amway is a vehicle. That's all that it is. It is a vehicle that will offer a product and service vehicle, a ways and means to go into business for yourself and make something happen if you've got enough guts to get excited. Now I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of people in this room that are still a mechanic in the Amway business. You're wondering why it won't work. Or you're still an accountant in the Amway business. Or you're still a gas station attendant in the Amway business. And you can be that, and no one will judge it, and we aren't putting you down for it. But if it ain't growing as fast as you want it to grow, then why don't you get in the Amway business and be a part-time mechanic? I was in the Amway business from day one and was a part-time CPA whenever I could work it in 8 hours every day. And people say, how did you grow fast? I bought the business as the source, the means, and the end outside my spiritual life to get me where I wanted to go. I took a hold of a vehicle and I listened to people that were where I wanted to be. I didn't see one accountant living the way I wanted to live, but I saw a lot of diamonds living the way I wanted to live. You see, I really can't even say that because the biggest pin in the whole West Coast when I got in this business was an emerald, and I didn't think I'd ever live long enough to be an emerald. That was so high and far and above and beyond me, I wasn't sure that I could even live that long. But I'll tell you what I did do is I got excited. And something happens in life when you get excited if you'll listen and do it. So we began to grow, and we began to grow, and we began to grow, and began to grow, and began to grow, and we listened, and we did, and we listened, and we did, and we became full-time Amway in 17 months. Why? Because we were clearing 4 times more part-time than I was getting as a full-time CPA. And I remember the last day I went to work, and I said, boss, I got to tell you something. We're going to lunch. I went in on a Monday morning and got a tail chewing. You ever had one? You ever get chewed out for something you couldn't control? Happened to me every Monday morning in a staff meeting. I said, I got to tell you something. He said, what is it? And I said, we're going to lunch. And he said, no, I'm too busy. We haven't got time. And I said, we're going to lunch. And he said, listen, as long as I sign your paycheck, you don't tell me what to do. I said, that's right. We're going to lunch. He said, oh yeah, Severn, I know you got into something on the side and you burn the candles at both ends. And I said, that's right, pal, and your end's going out. At age 33, Jan and I walked into the life of the living. Never to answer to another person, never to be controlled by time, money, or effort. Because we worked a plan that we were shown how to work, and we listened, and we submitted ourselves to successful people. Now, I just realized that on my watch here, it's 9:45 in Boise. And that means we're 2 hours earlier here, right? Now, I'm telling you all a message. Every clock, watch, hourglass I own, except this one, is set at 9:45. Everyone in this room has a watch on. Take your watch off. Put it in your pocket. Now you got nothing but time, don't you? Isn't it amazing? Here's what blows my mind. The longer I'm in Amway, the more I understand this statement. Behind every successful man, there's a successful woman. Sadly, and all too often, it's not his wife. And that's the truth. The greatest accessory, gentlemen, you'll ever have for those married is your wife. How many times has the most important person in your life called you up at work and you just jumped all over her? You know better than to call me up down here, doggone it, I'm busy, I haven't got any time to do this, I haven't got any time. And the only person that's taking your time is some bum that's in there trying to sell you something you don't want. Ladies, have you ever been eaten alive over the telephone? I haven't got any time to talk to you. Take your watch off, you have nothing but time. Some of you got to drive some long miles to build this business in Texas, don't you? Some of you got to burn the rubber. You know who's serious in this business? I can tell you who's serious. All I got to do is walk out here in the parking lot and look at the tires. I'll tell you who's serious. The people that have got old cars with brand new tires on them, or middle-aged cars with ball tires. Those are the ones that are serious. If you ain't burning up 100,000 miles in this country, you ain't serious about your future. Now, when you're broke, you'll say, oh, don't drive the car that much, honey. We don't want to put all those miles on there. We'll eventually have to get rid of this thing. I tell my people, burn the engines up, man. Burn them up. The faster you can burn them up, the bigger you and faster you're growing in this business. Because things are temporary, and you do that in this business, you'll make enough money you can buy any car you want to buy. But you see, it's the broke thinking that changes things in life, and you've got to decide whether you're going to succeed or fail. That's a decision process. And then you've got to learn to speak what you want. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. That's the way that it is. You don't need to go down to work and blab, hey, boss, bite the bag. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And one day I'll be a millionaire, and you can just go take a hike. Don't say that. Now, you can say it to yourself, and you can say it to your upline, but don't be stupid. Learn another principle of success. Let your actions speak so loud nobody can hear a word coming out of your mouth. When we come flying in a Jet Ranger helicopter and pick you up wearing a tuxedo and your wife in a full formal, you won't have to tell him you're leaving. Could you imagine walking into work for the last time? Has anybody got a big dream big enough for that? The last day you got up, shave yourself for the last time. Could you imagine dragging that razor across your face? I'll never have to get up again in my life if I don't want to. Can you imagine what it'd be like to let that door slam in behind you the last time you'll ever walk out of it? Clunk. Could you imagine to see all your diamonds and all your upline there with motorhomes and Cadillacs and all your friends, 2 or 3 or 4 or 500 of them, a 2-mile length of caravan with a helicopter flying overhead, you and your kids in it? You see, it'll never be as bad as it is today for you. That's the second thing prayer told me in a hot tub. You have lived the worst day of your life financially. It'll never be as bad as it was for you today. This is as bad as it'll ever be. I have lived the worst day of my life financially. I get excited about that, friends, because I got to admit it ain't all that bad. But I'll tell you, people without a dream and without ways and means to make the dream come true have lived the best day of the rest of their life, because it's downhill from here on out. You have a responsibility, and that's to help your fellow man if you love him. You know how to prove your love to a fellow man? Be an example. Now, I'm always shocked by the guy that says, well, I don't love her anymore. Man, love is eternal. Love never dies. You never loved her to begin with if you don't love her now, because once loved, always loved. Big difference, right? You understand that God's laws are always the same, and they're always final, and you can't see them, you can't touch them, you can't smell them, but they're true. You never break them, you only confirm them. One of God's laws is gravity. If you'd crawl to the top when we're done here in just a few minutes and step off, would you break the law of gravity? No, you'd confirm it. Success principles are the same way. You might think you don't know a thing that I know, but I'm going to tell you something. If I aggravated you here tonight, it's because the truth hurts. But I will tell you this. If you'll work this business 5 nights a week for 2 years, through a sphere of influence of 100 human beings, you can have anything in life you ever wanted. I'll guarantee anyone in this room is willing to listen and learn that if you'll work this business 5 nights a week for 2 years in a sphere of influence, you can have anything you can dream. Because I will promise you that out of every 100 people that you'll show this plan to, if you've got enough guts to be willing to do that. Now, you may not have to show that many, but if you're willing to decide that you'll pay the price to show 100 people this plan, on a 5-night-a-week effort, in the next 2-year period, you're going to become very wealthy. There's no way to keep from sponsoring at least 15 to 20 of those people that want to do something, and that means diamond. And I'll also tell you that if you want to be a diamond and you're not 15 to 20 wide, quit kidding yourself. It ain't going to happen until you are. I will tell you that the ways and means to build this business is fast, not slow. And you just ask anybody who's building it slow and they'll agree. If you're building the Amway business slow, you're miserable. Now, you can build it as fast as you want because it's your decision, but listen to this. Anything less than 5 nights a week is going to require 3 things to happen. Number 1, it's going to take more time. Pretty obvious. Number 2, it'll take more money. Pretty obvious. Number 3, you'll need a bigger sphere of influence than 100 people. You'll have to work harder. Now, I wasn't a mental giant, but I wasn't stupid. If I could get diamond in 2 years, it seemed better to do it in 2 than 5. Would you agree? Now, at minimum, that's $100,000 a year, so I just figured I'd put in $300,000 in the bank by getting there in 2 years instead of waiting for 5. And I want you to know that then you got to understand to get around people that can help you be there, associate with people and get excited about your future, and then duplicate some work habits, and then start talking what you want. God gave you a computer, He also gave you a programmer. It's called your tongue. You'll possess in life what you confess, so you got to learn to confess it. But you don't have to run around mouthing off. Just confess it to yourself, God, and your upline. I'm going to make it. I'll pay the price. There isn't nothing going to stop me from succeeding. I will do what it takes. I married my wife for better and worse, and I'm going to make it better. I love my wife, and I want her with me. Our kids will be here with us. We will make it happen, period. That's it. And the next time some clown comes in and tries to polish your dream or throw a little water on it, just reach your hand out and thank him for $50 and get on down the street. I love the same thing that Jesus talked about in the Bible. He said, if you want to really go out and do what I challenge you to do, He said, take the good news out, stop in every town, talk to the people about it. If they want to learn about it, stay there and teach them. If they won't want to learn about it, shake the dust off your sandals and get it on down the road. And you need to apply that same principle in building this business. If you tell me no, by Jiminy's, I'll promise you, before that door closes, I've forgotten your name on my way out the door. My train is going somewhere. You get on it and come with, or watch it pull out of the station and wave to it goodbye, because it doesn't stop and it never backs up. Just means if you want to get on it, you come with me. You make my pace. Now, I'm telling you, when you get around successful people, you become like them. That Ron Preer's making it real tough. He hardly got leveled off a diamond, now he's double. Who knows what from here? But you know what that means? It means he's proven it can be done, so that's all I need. Do you know a winner just needs to know he can do it? A winner just needs to know somebody else has done it, and therefore I can. When Walt Newman went Diamond Direct Distributor and came out to Portland, Oregon, we were out there, first enter, free enterprise. You know what I said? And I'm telling you, this is a compliment in this business. I looked at Jan. I was a gold direct distributor with a gold leg. I said, if he can do it, I'll tear it up. When Paul Miller walked out on that stage as a brand new diamond, I said, Jan, if he can do it, I'll tear it up. And every diamond that came across said the same thing. And then when Jack Doyle came across that diamond, I said, God, I know I'll tear it up. Some of you are sitting around saying, why want to work? Because you ain't working it. You're going to hear some clown that's broke say, I want nothing to do with that. I know a guy that got in and quit. Well, good. You can get in and quit too, and then that same guy can go around saying, I know two guys that got in and quit. Or you'll hear about the guy that ran into a guy that met a guy on an airplane that knew a fellow in a bar one time that had a drink in O'Hare International Airport that knew a guy that got into Amway and lost his shirt. He's a phantom. He doesn't exist. Find him, I'll buy him 5 shirts. Attitude. When you know who you are and how you're going to get to where it is you're after, nobody can stop you except yourself if you communicate with people that want to see you succeed. How many here totally and completely and positively, without a doubt, want to be a diamond? Raise your hand. Look at the hands. Just look at the hands. Lay your hand down a minute. Dumb question. Who wouldn't want to be a diamond? Wealthy, totally free, $100,000 a year coming in, all bills paid off, around your beautiful wife so you can enjoy and travel and honeymoon across this country. Who wouldn't want that? Now let's get down to where the rubber meets the road. How many are going to be flat, period? That's it. Ain't no question about it. Okay? Throw your hands. Now I didn't come down here to mess with you. Let's see where the rubber meets the road. Let's see who the new diamonds in Dallas, Texas are going to be. Are you ready? Tell the truth. I'm going to ask somebody that wants to make this. I'm just going to tell you something right now. If you stand up, what I'm about to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to come up here and prove it, so you better tell the truth. Of those that said they wanted to be, knelt down to those that said no question about it they're going to be, how many of those that said they're going to be diamonds can stand up right now and pull their calendar out and show me where you've been showing this plan 5 nights a week, every week for the last 6 months? Stand up. Raise your hand. Meet your new diamonds in Dallas, Texas, friends, because they're the ones that are going to make it happen. All right, now, there's only 2 exceptions to what I just said. If you ain't been in 6 months, and you've already made that decision, because it only takes 90 days to go direct, and the one that's going to make it tonight. The only other exception is the guy that says, Severn, you so terribly aggravated me, Buster, just out of spite, I'm going to just walk up to you in Bermuda and mash you in the mouth. But you remember, you got to earn the right to walk up to me in Bermuda. Because only diamonds get to go. Now, some big shot might say, well, I can fly to Bermuda anytime I want. Go ahead, but you'll be alone. Because only diamonds get to come to the Brit Diamond Club. It's worth coming to. I tell my group, real simple, and I'm going to wind down here because I know it's later than what I thought it is. I'm still on 10 o'clock time. If you're serious about going diamond, and I hope you are, because it's the greatest thing you can do for yourself, your family, and your country. And I know you don't understand that right now, but when you get to diamond, you will. On straight faith, knowing that I'll never tell you anything that'll hurt you, slow you down, or stop you, then you do 6 things. to show a business, 7 things to show a business intent, and then I'm going to give you a handful of tools, and then I'll be done. 6 things that will allow you to take advantage of everything in this business, all the tax advantage and all the profit will come to you. You must show a business intent through a 2 to 5 year plan. That business intent, number 1, requires you to personally use your own products. If you were arrested tomorrow morning for being an Amway distributor, would there be sufficient evidence to convict you? So use your own products. Now out here you got to stay up a little bit later because you got so many hours to drive, right? You ought to be on double X, and if you aren't using your own vitamins, you're missing the boat. I have a very high energy level. You know why? I take a lot of vitamins. But minimum is double X. We don't want you to go to sleep. But that's just one of over 300 basic commodity items available. And if you aren't using every one of your own products, you're kidding yourself. It ain't going to happen. The second thing is you service 10 customers every month, period. If you're servicing 10 customers every month, you'll be doing $200 or $300 a month in retail. Almost every one of our customers buy at least $50 a crack. We don't just sell them a box of soap. We got a whole organization and product line. 6 separate businesses. Learn how to do a little bit of that, and when you do it, then you can teach it. Because if you ain't doing it, you can't teach it, and your group will find you out. So use your own products, you service 10 customers. Now hear this. You build your own tape library. Now that means you've acquired your tools, you set them aside, you don't resell them, they're outside your product room, and there are things that you listen to every day because you need a little tape in every day. Now we have a thing called standing order. I don't know if you know what that is, but you need to be on it if you're serious. And if you don't know what standing order is, you get with your upline and you find out and you get involved in it because it is a current tape coming out once a week. You don't pay for it until you get it, and it is current information. We're all thinking the same thing. We don't want clones, but we want us all thinking the same way. Because you see, we want you thinking diamond because we want you diamonds. And the only way you become a diamond is to think about it and know what you're thinking about, and it's the same thing your upline's thinking about. It's called communication. So you build your own tape library. The fourth thing you do is you build your own book library. And readers are leaders. Leaders are readers. You read every day at least 15 minutes. I don't care when you go to bed. I tell people you ought to buy, outside of standing order, you ought to buy at least 2 tapes a week and listen to them and understand them. And the second thing you need to do in the book area is you ought to be buying 1 to 4 books a month dependent upon what your personal reading habit is. Now I'm talking about for you. That doesn't count what's for your group. So that's the 4th thing. The 5th thing is you get your own tools. Let me tell you what the physical tools are. A board and easel. If you're serious about your business, you got your board and easel because you can't build a house without a hammer and you can't build a business without a board. It means you get your markers and your erasers and you get 3 or 4 decision packs. And you don't quibble over the price, you get them because they're all tax-deductible business expenses. And you let your retail profit buy them for you. I don't buy any excuses for failing. That's the 5th item. What's the 6th item? You attend... Now watch this word. Please, everybody up here. You attend all functions. That means every one, not just one that is convenient, because you'll never succeed on convenience. And if you're a husband and wife partnership, you both need to be here. But if for some crazy and undetermined reason one of you can't be here, for heaven's sakes, the other one needs to be there with a tape recorder and a notepad. And when you go to a function, you go there prepared to learn with your antenna up. Let me tell you what I mean. My husband's got lumpuckaroo. He won't be able to make it to the next regional rally. So I'm not going to go either because I don't want to go alone. If you were in a business outside Amway and you were in partnership and you were incapacitated to where you couldn't go, and your partner walked in and said, well, you know, it's over 60 degrees, I don't think I'll go. Or I've got a hangnail, I don't think I'll go. Or I run out of Pepto-Bismol, I don't think I'll go. Or the dog needs fed, I don't think I'll go. What would your response be? Hey, buddy, we're in partnership. You're representing me as well as yourself. Get your hiney down there. The function you miss is the one you should have been to, I'll promise you. There's some people in your group need to hear what I said tonight. They weren't here. They missed out, right? That's their problem. Now, I'm telling you why they weren't here. Who's this guy from Idaho? God, he'll come in and say the same thing the guy before him said. Well, the guy that you missed is the guy that you would have related to. I spoke a little strong to you tonight because I love you. I wouldn't talk to you this way if I didn't love you. You know why? Because we don't have enough diamonds in Texas. Period. And I guess it's because you men don't want to give your wives nice things. That's the only conclusion I can draw. Don't you men want to bring your wives to Disneyland and Bermuda and probably on to Hawaii next year with us? Don't you want to go on a cruise? We're taking our second Caribbean cruise in April. We're going. They're forcing us to take another week and float around the Virgin Islands. No charge. I can only assume you don't want to enjoy nice things or you'd quit screwing around. So you attend all the functions. Now that's 6. There's one more. What do we teach to do? A 2 to 5 year plan. What kind of an effort does that require? 2 to 3 nights a week you need to be showing this plan, now ready for this one, to new faces. To a new set of eyeballs, man. You don't need to respond to the same guy 85 times. This business grows through a thing called exposure. You need to get the business exposed. And if you'll do those 7 things, then you'll have advantage of everything and be able to take advantage of all the tax breaks, and you'll be able to build a big business. Then you need to get in the habit of showing this plan to 10 new people a month personally until you sponsor 2, whichever comes first. Show it to 10 or until you sponsor 2, whichever comes first every month. And if you'll begin that this month, March, how many people will you have sponsored in a year's time? 24. What would your business look like with 24 new legs? It'd be a whole lot different than what it is now, right? Now, who's going to get that done for you? It ain't going to be me, I'll promise you. But I'll help you. I'll never build you something you can build for yourself, but I'll help you build it. I can help you build a terribly stable and strong business. But sweetheart, you got to build it wide and profitable. We know how to work it stable. You got to make it profitable. You can make a lot of money in Amway. We made over $132,000 a year the year we were Rubies. Why? Whoa, let's do that. I worked my hind end off. I'm going to tell you something. You work hard once at Amway. Once! Take the rest of your life off first class. It's a question of whether or not you want to work hard for 2 years or work easy for 40 and wind up with nothing. You choose. I wasn't ambitious and I wasn't lazy. I was ambitiously lazy. Those are 7 needs. And here's what I take my people aside that are totally serious about going diamond and tell them to do. We've got all kinds of tapes. We've got all kinds of systems. We've got all kinds of support. But I tell them this. Now here's what I'm telling you. You know what the parameters are. You know that if you got to be a diamond, you need 15 to 20 people sponsored that want to do something. At your level and above. That's got to be. And if you ain't there, get there. Don't come limping back in another month's time with the same width you got now. Get out and expose the business in March and bring about 4 new legs back to that regional rally going to be held here on the April 3rd. Or whenever it's going to be in this area. Don't come back without twice as many people that were at the last regional. You know who controls that? You. But you got to sponsor 15 to 20 people. You'll hold 5 to 7 meetings for those people. There's a right way to do that and a wrong way to do that. Don't worry about the ones that don't want to have the meetings. Work with the ones that do want to have the meetings. And learn how to keep the group together as you build those 5 to 7 meetings. After 5 to 7 meetings, in my opinion, it's go direct or forget it. Now, it doesn't mean I forget about them as human beings. I just know that I've got to concentrate my effort on somebody who wants to grow, not somebody that doesn't. It's not my responsibility to make you successful. It's your responsibility. I'll just show you how and work with you. Out of 15 to 20 wide, and I'm telling you, if you ain't wide, don't work. Out of 15 to 20 wide, 6 to 8 are going to go direct. 3 to 4 this year, 3 to 4 come in behind them next year. That's why it takes 2 years to go diamond. Period. That's all. So simple. But now watch this. If you sponsor down, that means less than your ambition level, nothing works. You understand? Nothing works. And that's why somebody says, well, I got 14 people sponsored and now my volume's $3. No, you ain't got 14 people sponsored, friends. You got yourself faked out. You see, if you sponsor down, let me tell you what happens mentally to the person you sponsor. You could do it, Joe, but I never could. But if you sponsor up, you know what happens? God, if you can do it, Joe, I'll tear it apart. See the difference? And we know just one thing here. We know this. If you put money on a vertical scale and you put attitude on a horizontal scale, and a negative attitude is to the left and a positive attitude is to the right, we know that people's money is in direct proportion to their attitude. The more positive their attitude, the more money they make. The more negative their attitude, the lower their self-image. The lower the self-image, the less income they have. Now this is zero as far as attitude. This is your level. Right? Now watch. Here's what happens usually. 15 to 20 wide, all right, I'll do it. Wow. Well, I'm not sure about Amway. I don't know if it's any good. You know, they said it is, but I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are people you sponsor. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. God, I'm working hard. Why won't nothing happen? Most people, sadly, because they do not do what we tell, will go direct with about 2 or 3 legs. And that's why they don't have the income that you can have if you go with the proper width. Now, you can make $1,200 a month with a note in your mouth at the direct level. But you can make $3,500 a month at the same level if you just do what we teach. Pay 15 bonus checks and you'll be clearing over $3,000 a month at the direct level. Now watch. Most people take 2 years that are below zero, that have enough guts to stay in, about 2 years just to get up to ground zero. And that's why we'll tell you, if you can keep somebody in this business around the system for 2 years, they'll eventually be a direct. So we never give up on any people. But what would have happened if Dave and Jan back there would have kept pace with this 2-year group? We'd have right now been getting ready to get ready. But we went on because our upline went on. And that's why it's your responsibility to grow, to show other people it can be done. Now here's what's exciting. Those ones that aren't growing too fast, relax. Go on without them and let that be your 14th, 15th, and 16th direct legs. And that'll happen on you. Just ask Walt. I'll bet he's got people in his group coming on that haven't done nothing for 2 years. I've got a guy that's been in for 2.5 years, and all he does is come over and get a tape and a book and a bar of soap, and he don't want the soap. But I love him. I just ain't waiting on him. Now, there are 6 tools I use, in addition to knowing what I just showed you and those other parameters. I tell my people, if you're serious about going business, here are the things you need, and if you do what's in this information, you go diamond. If you don't do it, you won't. Number 1, you understand, get, and begin to use a little pamphlet that we've got it all crystallized called Launching Your Future. You need to be using that tool. You need to know what's in there. You need to understand it because it's a Bible. It's a writing of what it takes to go direct. A lot of people say, well, I got to write it down to see it. Well, we've got it all written down and typed up, so it's easy to read. Now, here's the next tape, and the rest of these are tapes. The knowledge that's in Launching Your Future. Now, that's above and beyond counseling and association. This is just guts, nuts, and bolts right now. Launching Your Future, next tape, Dr. Wayne Martin, what it takes to be a direct distributor. Man, you got to begin, and that's a good place to begin, in my opinion. Now, the tape that folds right in and comes right in behind that, my friend, is a tape that was made to be its counterpart called It's All Predictable by Bill Britt. Now, when you listen to these tapes, take notes because they mesh in, but they're kind of spread out. And so you have to take notes, and you'll see how they fold together once they're all put together. There's a third tape that comes in right in behind that, in my opinion. I think it's just fantastic. If you use it, it works. It's called How to Go Diamond by Bill Britt on one side and Mickey Hamlet on the other. So that's 3 tapes. The 4th tape, I think it's just totally exciting once you understand how it works in the how and why of contacting and prospecting people by Ron Pereira on one side and the glue by Wayne Martin on the other. That's 4 tapes. Okay? The 5th tape ties it all together. Check the pulse, keep it alive, John and Jenny Bell Crow. There's your parameters. Every 90 days you got to check the pulse of your business. You got to see where it's going, and that means you keep it drawn out, and that means you stay in counsel with your upline, and that means as things aren't working right, change them. But if they're working good, leave them be. Don't fix something that ain't broke. The last tape, in my opinion, ties the whole system together and opens your eyes up to why you do things. And that's Ron and Georgia Lee, the Pump in the Desert. Ron and Georgia Lee Pereira, Pump in the Desert. That's a relatively new tape, at least in this part of the country. And if you will listen and take care of what's on those 6 tapes in one book, the only reason you don't go diamond is because you don't want to. After tonight, poverty is self-imposed. After tonight, you can do what you want to do if you want to do it bad enough. And so I'm going to close by just telling you this. First off, it's been my absolute privilege and honor to be with you here in Texas tonight. You have, without question, you are sitting on the edge of a gold mine. You are the cream of the knowledge. Right now, you know more about this business than anybody else in Texas because of your leadership. You know what this thing can be, and you've got a source of information called an upline that'll totally change your life if you use them. But you've got to work smart and use the knowledge. Now watch. It's good today, but what is it going to be next year and the year after? 65% of sales came back in bonuses last year. 65% of $1.4 billion is over $800 million. Now watch. By 1985, we're looking right in the pipe of $5 billion in sales. What's 65% of $5 billion? Over $3.5 billion will come back to the people involved in the business in 1985 through those bonuses. Now, who's going to get the biggest part of them? The one that got in the business in 1985 or the people that are smart enough to get in now when it ain't? When I saw this business, Pereira looked me in the eye and he said, Severn, we're going to $1 billion without you. And I said, no, you ain't. Who's going to be the unknown in this room tonight that nobody knows about but you know about, and right now it's all in your heart and all in your mind? You're going to rise above the crowd and you're going to come on to diamond and we don't even know it because you're so busy making it happen you ain't shooting your mouth off. You got to be the hero that you know about today and nobody else knows about, but tomorrow they're going to hear about you because they're going to see your smoke. You got to decide you're going to succeed, and then don't let anybody steal your dream, and go get the job done. And then you just dwell on this last statement that I'll make to you. If you serve to the classes, you will live with the masses. But if you get a dream, you get your act together, and you accept the guidance and counsel of people above you and get involved in this Amway opportunity, then you will be able to serve to the masses, and therefore you will live with the classes. I understand that. Then let's close by this last thought. As you're laying there in bed tonight, get a dream and start talking about it and confess it. Set some goals and write them down. And then what I want you to do tonight is you close your eyes. I want you to picture what it's going to be like. Flying on that Delta Airlines from here to Atlanta, meeting us all at the Atlanta airport, all jumping on the same plane and flying to Bermuda. We diamonds like Bermuda. It's a nice place. It's top class and it's expensive, so you don't have anybody over there that can't afford it. Can you see coming down some great big spiral stairwells that come over a cliff, all rock stone, as you're walking down to a crystal sand beach, totally white sand with beautiful crystal blue water, and all the diamonds are out there, waded out into it, just about arm deep, and we're just letting the tidal action kind of move us in and out a little bit, and all we're doing is sitting out there with Bill Britt, sitting out there with Walt Newman. Lynn and Beatrix are there with us because they're going to get the job done this year. And everybody's sitting there saying, come on, winners, we've been waiting on you. Welcome.